Oh, you explain. I don't really have a.
I will. I got this.
Alright.
All right, guys. Welcome to this week's edition of Dare to Disagree, your weekly episodic podcast where most of us know what the fuck we're talking about.
I know what the
And,
fuck I'm talking
yeah,
about. That's for
yeah.
damn sure.
And the rest of us are hanging on pretty okay. I'll be your host, Jonathan Esther, out of California.
And this is Alone in the Dark in beautiful Colorado. I'm so happy to be out of the South. Okay, it's just beautiful.
Cold conscious, Baltimore.
Mister, I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Get some new
yeah.
shit.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. We're good. I think we're good. All right. That'll be us for today. We might have our last co-host Andrew joining us soon, but until then, this will be the main lineup we got going on.
Usually.
Anyway, we're kind of low on topics this week, but
What about what you guys?
What you talking about? That's why. I'm not low on topics, fucker. I know what I'm talking about.
I just asked and you said nothing.
Don't you worry about that, because you don't know what the fuck you talking about. That's why. I know what I'm talking
You
about.
said nothing.
Don't worry about that shit.
Don't you worry
Christ.
about that.
Oh my God, here we go with this. All right,
You
whatever.
guys were saying Jada naked, right?
Why
not
does
the
it sound
best
like your
way.
keyboard is typing those exact words?
That is
Anyway.
not the best way to put it, but okay.
Yeah, that was not the best. To an extent, yes. There's this incident going on right now, which is Willow Smith, Will Smith's
That
13-year-old daughter.
that's not his daughter. First of all, that's not his daughter.
Well, you don't think Willow Smith is Will Smith's daughter?
No. That's not his daughter. Who the fuck we're talking about? It's
Wait,
just
who are
some
you
girl
talking
named-
about? Because I'm talking about Willow Smith.
No, I'm talking about the girl. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right.
Okay, elaborate. Because that means we're on two completely different pages on this. Go ahead.
Apparently, shit. It's this girl Jada who's been going around lately. Apparently, she was drugged and raped at some guy's house. Yeah, and
Yeah.
they put up a picture, and she was like really passed out on the fucking floor. She was passed out, damn near naked. And it went around Twitter, and became a big thing, and people kept hashtagging the Jada pose, where she was really fucking laid out. And I'm guessing you didn't fucking hear about that.
No, I heard about that, but that's not what I thought you were talking about.
Yes, no, that's what I was talking about. Just like what?
Yeah,
what do you-
yeah.
Okay,
I was looking at Will Smith's wife naked. That's what I was doing.
That's yeah. Will Smith's wife is quite nice naked, but that's not even who I was talking about. Well, let's deal with your thing first, and then we'll go into the one I was talking about. So what's your problem? I pretty much think it's heinous. I'm pretty sure most people agree it's heinous.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking heinous. But I'm gonna be the only one here who's gonna come out and say this.
Oh Jesus!
No, listen. Here's why. I'm not saying it in any type of bad way. I'm pretty sure it probably did happen. But is there any way we could probably think that maybe it didn't happen the way she say it happened?
Well, yeah.
I mean, could I go as far as saying that maybe she's just seeking attention? I'm pretty sure. I'm not gonna say I'm pretty sure that it could have happened. They could have drugged this girl, fucking raped the hell out of her. It could have fucking happened. But I'm gonna be the only guy and say that maybe she did it, to her consent. Maybe she actually really wanted to go through with it and realized how fucking, bad she felt afterwards, and with the fucking pictures surfacing and everything like that. And, all of a sudden wanted to come out and say, yeah, these people raped me. Maybe that's just me.
I'm gonna hardcore disagree with you on that. That being said, I'm not just disagreeing. I understand your position. I'm not saying that.
I'm not saying that she wasn't drugged up and raped. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not gonna sit here and defend the guys. What they did was fucking heinous. But you had to look at it at both sides of it. Could it have been one of the things where it's like, because she was blown up all over the internet, and she probably really was with everything. Then she just fucking decided to go on a news station and say that, yeah, I was drugged and raped.
Yeah, and again, as I said, I can't roll with you on that, but I understand your point. You're like, could it be a little bit of that? Absolutely, I'm sure it could be. You never know with those situations. The truth is, whenever it comes to situations like this, it's always between those two people. They're the only ones that are ever really gonna know what actually happened. They're the only ones that are actually gonna know the story behind it. But at the end of the day, the posting of that picture alone, for me, that's enough for a no. That's enough for a punishment right there. It's like, nah, that's whatever comes after that, you deserve it.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's one thing for this whole thing to go down in private, right? That's bad enough as it is. But then for one of you guys, I stopped feeling bad for any of the guys in the situation the second a picture is posted of a vulnerable woman. It's the end of that. I'd feel the same way if it was a vulnerable dude, and like I get a reaction when I look at pictures of white people passed out at parties with dicks drawn in their face. That being said is why I've never passed out at a white party or drank at a white party, to be honest.
Yeah,
if I put my cup down, the party's over for me. I'm going home. But
you put your cup down, don't pick that fucking cup back up.
Yeah, it's just the second somebody's like, oh, you know what would be hilarious? Let the rest of the world see this. That's where I'm like, yeah, no, you're done. You're done.
Fair enough. I agree with you on that, And like I said, I'm not taking, before anybody jumps out, because I'm pretty sure you got some motherfuckers out there who's going to jump out. I'm not taking anybody's fucking side. I absolutely believe that he was drugged up and raped, but you gotta look at both sides of the story. Now, if you explain that with the picture, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, I do understand where you're coming from.
You're doing the unpopular thing, which I admire. It's you're taking the stance of, okay, everybody is really quick to go, this girl was a victim. Have we checked to see if she really was a victim?
Exactly.
And and I agree with you. And legitimately, you still have a point with that. But for me, whether she's a victim or not stopped mattering the second they posted the picture online. Because to me, it was like, one of you guys thought that would be hilarious. You deserve to be punished. End of story.
Yeah, because...
What was the picture?
She's unconscious on the ground, pretty much half naked, like all the major bits showing.
I can't. Yeah.
We're not gonna put it up on the screen, but all the major bits showing, and here's what got really horrible for me when I heard the story. It wasn't the picture that was horrible for me. It's when I started seeing people copying it, and like it started being like a planking thing where people would do the pose and they called it her, and I was just like, any individual who thinks that's funny, you've lost me on that. You're on your own. And anytime you look at a girl passed out on the floor with her body exposed, and you're just like, man, that's absolutely hilarious to me. Let me do it and share that with people. Then it's just like, you're a sad
surprised
person.
how much that goes around, though. There are a lot more pictures and videos of females, of that happening. I must be very fucking serious if I said females, not bitches.
True. Now, actually, I'm glad, Mr. Calhoun, you've joined us, because we're gonna go on your topic that you had in a little while. But right before we do that, I wanna jump real quick on what I was talking about, which was the Jada, the Willow Smiths thing. Now this has been done for a little while now.
Willow Smith.
Yeah, Willow Smith. This has been done for a little while. Like, it happened a while ago. It's kind of old news, but do you guys see this picture?
Yeah.
That's a 13-year-old Willow Smith with a 20-year-old guy.
Say no more.
Which was when that came on the internet, a lot of people were quickly like, "Yo, she looks mighty comfortable on that bed.
Right.
Like, real freaking comfortable next to that 20-year-old guy with no shirt on.
I thought she was whipping her head back and forth. She's bald now? What the fuck?
No, she cut it short. She's got like the whole, not Erykah Badu. What was that? Jill Scott? Was it Jill Scott that had that?
The whole Jada Pinkett.
Yeah, Jada did have short. But anyway, yeah, so that whole thing, that's what I thought you were talking about earlier, because people were flipping out over that whole nonsense. And Jada came out, I mean, Will Smith and Jada both came out and were like, she's our daughter, we trust her, that she's doing the right thing in that situation, which I'm sure she was, right? I mean, I don't know. We all know, I don't know why people pretended, but we all know pretty much anybody on a Disney Channel show is fucking. Can we agree about that?
She wasn't on a Disney Channel show though.
Well, I'm just saying we all know right now that if you're looking at the Disney
Damn, you really don't know what the fuck you be talking about, do you?
No. I'm leading to a point here. If you give me a second.
Okay,
Jesus
go ahead.
Christ. I was saying. Hold on. You're cutting in and out.
I was saying you can argue that the dude was on a Disney Channel show.
Hey, thank you. I didn't even know that. But the point I was making is
That's the short motherfucker named Rico from off of Hannah Montana.
that is Rico. Goddamn, actually, now that you say that, I see him.
I was more of a Nickelodeon Cartoon Network. I didn't fuck with Disney Channel.
But the point I'm saying is, like, all these Britney Spears, Justin Timberlakes, Demi Lovato's, one of the few things that came out whenever those people got older is that when they were on the Disney set, raunchy stuff happened. Hell, in one of what's his name, Justin Timberlake's SNL appearances, he made like a passing joke about having slept with Britney Spears.
He wasn't on Disney Channel though.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was.
He was?
Yeah. That's where they all came from.
I don't
So
know
the
what
point is, like, when you deal with that, like, Demi Lovato was a big scene about that. She had a whole thing about, on that Disney Channel show, they just let them kids run wild. You got a bunch of kids running wild on TV, yeah, they're going to touch each other a little. So you leave, the thing that we're saying is that you leave someone in that kind of a compromising position, plus celebrities tend to be real comfortable touching each other at a young age. That was like the whole thing. That's what I thought you were talking about, not the girl that was passed out.
Oh, okay.
See, if you give me a second, I come back to the point.
Okay,
Yeah, you really don't pay attention, do you?
Wow, that's terrible. Anyway, Jay, you were saying your bride to be had a comment.
Yeah, motherfucker, shut up. Let me talk. Damn. All right, so over this past week, got into a little debate, if you will, on Facebook, a very heated debate about gentrification and ethnic hypocrisy.
Mm-hmm.
So my girlfriend, she brought up a very good point. She was saying how how can you be against gentrification when all you really do is tear your community down, when all you do is destroy it? I never really thought about that. When I thought about it to myself, I said, that was a very good point.
What do you guys think?
As a white man,
Oh, sweet Jesus.
I'm just saying, I'm the only, at least that I've ever heard, okay? I have never heard any other race complain about people coming in and making their area better and more safe. Now, look, hold on a second, okay? I know it's more complicated than that, but I've literally heard people complaining, man, this whole area just got fucked over by these white people. I even saw kids playing in this fucking street where we used to stab each other at. It's ridiculous, man. I've heard that fucking argument. It's like, that is terrible, dude. This whole street got safer, and now these kids are able to go and play at night. Like, that's fucking terrible. I understand it's a little more complicated than that, but I really don't feel like it's that much more complicated.
Anybody else? Everybody's in agreement with him, or is there someone that has a counter?
I mean, there really is no counter.
Yes.
I actually agree with y'all, but I see the complaint from a different perspective.
Here comes the bitch.
Well, thanks for giving me the benefit of the doubt. That was sweet of you, homie.
Yeah, come on.
No, I'm saying here's the problem. I don't think the problem with gentrification necessarily is that they come and make the place better. I don't think that's ever been the problem with gentrification. Whoever was arguing with Alone in the Dark and made that comment is a fucking moron.
Oh, I was just looking. I wasn't arguing that shit. Ain't my place.
He didn't get into it.
But I was about to say the guy, the one time I've heard a legitimate argument who actually made a point was it's not just that they come in and make the place safer. They come in and make it impossible for the people who live there to maintain it. Like rent will go up, amenities will go up. If you're a poor person already living in that area, it's going to be difficult to stay in the area you've lived in.
Yeah,
And you slowly get moved. And what ends up happening is you get pushed from maybe your kind of bad area you were in to a much worse area that you can only afford now.
Cherry Hill.
The problem with Cherry Hill like a mug. The problem with gentrification isn't so much that they make the area better, is that they make the area better, but they don't make the people in the area better too. They make the area better, and the easiest way to do that is to get rid of the people in the area.
Yeah.
Which, again, if you're a third party, you're kind of like,
I mean,
I'll be honest with you, it sounds painful, but I still feel like at the end of the day, it's worth it making that place better. I'm like, well, all you're doing is you're concentrating all the evil to a place. So these people are going to move to somewhere that's worse or as bad as they were, and it's just going to get worse over there.
Yeah, but saying you got to think about this.
It doesn't fix the core problem.
but the issue is making the place better and getting rid of the people who were making it bad are kind of tying into each other.
No, I'll give you an example.
Just because, oh my God, it's a fucking shitty part of the neighborhood. These buildings aren't so pretty. It's usually the people tearing apart the buildings, shooting and stabbing each other, raping the women in the area, and robbing the whole fucking place.
Wait, I'll give you
That's what made it bad.
I'll give you an example of exactly what I mean. And all the guys from Baltimore can attest to this. When they were coming up with the new John Hopkins wing, one of the big things that they announced when the mayor did the whole speech and all that was this is going to be a great boon for the area because now all those people that are in that area, and you guys know the area I'm talking about right next to John Hopkins, that freaking horrible area right next to John Hopkins, they were like, this is great because that's going to mean those people that had no other option than to hustle and do all those terrible things, now they have the option of working at John Hopkins because we're opening a new wing. And everybody was on board with that plan, including the people in that area. But what ended up happening over the 4 years I watched it occur was none of those people got the jobs because what would happen is they would walk up, and we've talked about this before, hey, what are your qualifications for this job? I don't really have a qualification for this job. I mean, up until this point, I've been in jail twice, but I'm trying to turn over a new leaf. You guys said you were going to build this wing. Give us a chance. I live in this community. I really want to back this community up. And they would go, thank you. We'll call you later. And dudes would never get a call back because you've been in jail twice.
Yeah.
Well, guess what happens? All them people are then slowly pushed out of that neighborhood. The only people that are there were the people that weren't really messing with that neighborhood to begin with, but now they can come out and play, and it's all that. And granted, when you look at it,
or the people who managed to survive without going to jail and could qualify for those jobs without putting patients and other employees at risk. I mean, that's kind of an issue. When you're an employer, you don't just look at it as, oh, here's this guy, he's been to jail twice, once for fucking slapping people around, beating the shit out of people. I'm just going to give him a second chance. That isn't just doing a good deed. you're also putting every other employee's ass on the line for you freaking taking this risk.
Right.
Like, for example, now this is completely, separate from this area, but some church hired a guy who was a convicted child rapist.
Oh, yeah, I've also been following that. I got into a big thing about that.
He served his time, and he's been forgiven by God. That's why we let him back. And just so you know, the reason the church was being questioned on it is because he raped another kid.
God
None
damn.
of the parents knew. None of the kids knew, of course. Those church members or those church officials made that decision for him. And as an employer, that's what you're doing down there at Johns Hopkins. Oh, here's this guy, a violent fucking criminal. Hey, we said that we were going to give him a second chance. Let's put him around these employees, these people who aren't criminals, who lived in this area and didn't commit crimes. Let's put him with all them, so he can come do the same fucking thing, because I guarantee it's going to fucking happen.
See, but then you get to a greater argument, which is, all right, when does someone deserve a second chance? Because here's the thing. When you say it that way, you make it seem as if living in those neighborhoods, you have the option of not getting involved in that. Now, I know I visited James' neighborhood. I know. I'm not gonna use Cold Conscience, because Cold Conscience neighborhood is next to a church, and we know the rules are different when your house is next to a church.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Slightly different when they're next to a church.
When the fuck that happened?
Right, exactly.
Hold up, before you start, Dave. Before you start, you said you're using James's neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
Hey, James, how many times have you been to prison?
Not a damn once.
You're telling me that it was entirely possible for you to survive without having to commit crimes and get yourself sent to prison?
And that's exactly the same point that I was trying to make on the thread the other day. You motherfucker.
Go ahead. Make your point.
I told this chick, I went to one of the worst elementary schools there was in the city. It was so bad it had to be taken over by the state.
Well, let me school go to.
I went to Gilmore Elementary, and it was taken over. It was turned into Gilmore Edison. One of the Edison
I heard
schools.
rumors about Gilmore. I didn't know it was an actual place. I thought it was a myth.
It's a real motherfucking place. You was in Gilmore Homes Projects when you came there. It was called Gilmore Homes Project. I went to that elementary school. I graduated, went to middle school, graduated from there, dropped out of high school. Had to go get my GED. I did all those things for a job. And say that, oh, it's too hard out here. Life is too hard. I had to go sell drugs. That's time.
Hold on, Jay. Hold on.
You have options.
You're cutting in and out again.
Yeah, too animated for his internet.
Yeah. All right. The last thing we were able to catch was they're saying stuff like life is too hot out there.
Yeah, it's bullshit. They saying life is too hard out there. I can't get a job. You got temporary agencies you can go to go get jobs. You have options. You don't have to resort to staying out on the street selling drugs. The only reason why you're sitting out on the street selling drugs is because you want money in the fast. I mean, I want money in the fast too, but I know I don't want to get put up in the ass when I go to jail. So.
All right, no. But all right, let me make a point. And
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry, I don't mean to.
I was about to say, yeah, fair enough. I mean, I didn't take the same path as James, but I never fucking went to jail in Baltimore. Lord knows how the fuck I didn't go to jail. Living in fucking Baltimore, of all my friends, and my friends are drug dealers. God damn. I don't know how in the fuck I ain't go to jail yet. But I probably, John Esther, my parents, so that's probably why.
I was just about to say, I was like, it's not really like you had an option, dog.
No, don't get me wrong, they let me.
A correctional officer. Your dad was a correctional officer. You weren't going nowhere.
Pretty much. I mean,
the ass, so
exactly. They would let me hang out and shit like that. But as I got older, You know, probably because they did more. And here's my point. Probably because they did more for me, and for some people, they don't have that support. So I can understand why some people might think that it is their only option. Now, is it really? No, it's a plenty of people who has fucking common sense out here. And I understand. I see the ball looking in your face. I understand. But some people, it's hard when some people don't have that fucking support. It's not everybody. I'm not going to say, it's not everybody. Some people don't have that support and know how to do positive shit. Easy for me and Jonathan Esther. Well, I'm sure you had a little bit of support with your parents, but that's another story. And, for Alan, Alone in the Dark to say, it's easy for us to say that, that yeah, we never went to jail, we never had to turn to drugs, and it's not everybody, but you understand how some people just never had that support, and I guess at the time, that was their support. Could they have got a job? Yes, they could have. There's plenty of other options. I'm not defending these guys. I'm just saying.
Now, I wanna give Slow Chemical a chance to say something because I know I'm sure he has an opinion about this. But I wanted to finish the point I was gonna make by using James. The reason I was gonna use James is as much as I rag on James all the time about stuff, the reason I really ended up liking this dude was because for a guy in his situation, he was the most positive and knowledge-hungry person I'd ever met. Like, he'll tell you right now, the 1 a.m. discussions we had, I'm about to take all them compliments back, you keep that shit up. But the 1 a.m. discussions we used to have at our job just blew me away. Because I never expected to have conversations about philosophy with a dude from Baltimore, like born and raised on the streets of Baltimore. Caught me completely off guard. So the point I want to make is, Jay, I've been in your house. I've met your brother. I've met your friends. I've met your roommate. And can you admit that you are an anomaly? Definitely. Like, just your mental process in general is different. He's one of the few guys I know who would read a book because he's bored, Ain't nobody really around that area who would. I didn't say you do. I said would.
Okay.
But who would read a book? Or at the very least, if he didn't understand something, was willing to go seek it. That's in an environment where people are so uneducated that they feel education is a waste of time for people in their circumstances. Now, this comes down to the whole, born in the ghetto freaking thing. But like Cole Conscious was saying, when you're born in the ghetto to some extent, it's hard for you to feel like, hey, I have other options. I mean, who else is running around?
God damn!
Damn it, I'm trying to make a point, man.
God damn! Jesus Christ, wrap it up! God
Let him finish. That was a
that is the most elegant dick riding I've ever seen in my life.
That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. Hold on, let me get another one. Jesus Christ.
You know what? I'm done. I don't want to finish my topic. Yo, Slow Chemical. I'm done. I don't want to say it. I'm done. I'm dick riding right now. I'm done. Slow Chemical, you got anything to say, man? Jesus.
You don't just hop off mid-ride. You keep going.
Almost made me waste my beer, man. Almost made me waste my beer. How dare you? God damn. That's how I know Alone in the Dark isn't listening, because he'd be laughing the loudest right now.
I'm laughing pretty fucking hard, man.
That's me fucking good.
Jesus. Slow Chemical, you got anything to say?
God damn.
No.
So hold on. As a guy who grew up in the NOYA and grew up in Laurel, Maryland, no opinion whatsoever on kids in the ghetto, not possibly, or gentrification or anything.
No.
Okay,
Fucking helpful.
here's the point I had that I was trying to make to that girl, but her and fucking Calhoun, they were already too pissed to ever listen to me. Because what she kept saying was, these people have no opportunities. The city is not giving them any help at all. How are they supposed to get anywhere when the city doesn't give them the opportunity to? The issue is it's not that they don't have any opportunities. It's that they're taught not to fucking take them. I mean, I've seen it a whole lot when I lived in those bad neighborhoods. Is
No handouts.
between peers and siblings and even parents terrorizing kids who wanted to get an education. Like, oh, look at you, you're a fucking bookworm. What are you, a pussy or something like that? Go play basketball. What do you mean you want to go out and get a real job? You want to be a fucking lawyer or something like that? Are you kidding me? We're going to be hustling here. We're going to be selling drugs. That's how we're going to get rich, man.
It's like Matilda, but with drugs.
Exactly.
It's an American classic. How dare you?
So it isn't that these people don't have a chance. It's that they are taught not only, they're not taught how to take those chances, they're also taught specifically to fucking avoid them. Those things that could get them out of the hood, could get them out of this cycle of poverty, are taught that they're wrong. No, don't get an education, you fucking faggot. That's gay, man. That's being a pussy. No, don't try and have a hope for fucking some dream. Like that girl and Calhoun got an argument over, he was naming off celebrities who came out of the fucking ghetto and made it rich. She's like, that's a 1 in a million thing. I don't care if these people are getting rich. I just want them out of poverty. Make them middle fucking class. That's all I want them to get to. They don't need to be fucking millionaire rap stars. Get to the middle class where they're driving a fucking new car and own their own home, and I'm fucking happy. That isn't a 1 in a million thing. Now, is it still kind of hard for somebody who grew up in fucking poverty, who was never taught to be ambitious, never taught how to go out and get that shit? That's going to be fucking hard. But if we break that cycle, it's going to be broken forever. The reason these people's parents and siblings and peers are teaching them that is because their parents, siblings, and peers told them the same fucking thing. That's what they know. They can't get out. Like that girl was saying, you can't get out because Baltimore's not fucking helping you. Fuck Baltimore. If Baltimore's not helping you, get the hell out of there.
Right.
I'm here fucking a mile high in Denver in the middle of the country, and there's people all over the place who bailed from wherever the fuck they were to go out and find some opportunity. Get the fuck out of there and go somewhere.
Right.
Or fucking opportunity where it is. And that's what we got to start teaching. Like that girl, she seemed like a nice girl, and she seemed, she's pretty passionate what she's talking about, but she's kind of part of the problem. Hey, Baltimore's not helping you, so you're fucked. You can't do anything. Maybe 1 in a million are going to get somewhere, but you're fucked, kid. That's teaching them the same thing. Okay, I'm not going to take this fucking million in one shot. I'm going to just live in fucking poverty like my parents did and their parents did. Tell these kids that they can make it. Teach them how to fucking make it, and teach them to respect the path it takes to get there. It's not a problem of no opportunity. It's a problem of teaching these kids how to fucking get them.
All right. Then I got a question for you there, Alone in the Dark.
Sometimes it's not as easy to move, though. I see what you're saying.
That's what I was about to ask. I got a question for you, Alone in the Dark.
Sometimes it's not as easy to move, It just get up and move. Especially for some people on those fucking salaries, their income is not high. Some people are really living check the fucking check barely.
Hell, you're even going further than I was gonna go. I was just gonna say, okay, you're right. For 70% of people, what you're saying completely 100% accurate. What about the weak?
What are we ever what? In anything, what are we going to do with them, man?
They better learn how to play basketball.
There's a way.
Don't learn how to rap.
There's going to be that percentage of people who just can't make it, and that's what we have these programs, these welfare programs, these state programs to help them out. Kind of like your brother. He's got an affliction, he can't fucking make it, so there's programs out there to help him out. But it should only be for that fucking percentage. Now, trust me, I'm not somebody who's out here trying to kick people off of welfare and food stamps and shit like that. I would much rather my money go into food stamps, going out feeding people and feeding kids, than the shit we are spending it on. But we need to start teaching people to go out and fish. You know what I mean? Instead of waiting for the fish to come to them, to go out and be hungry and get somewhere that doesn't involve them becoming fucking criminals. Is it going to be? No. But they're right now taking the quick dollar. Hey, I'm going to make $100 today if I go out and sell some drugs. Then, hey, if I continue on with school, if I keep getting this free education, well, there's free education fucking everywhere right now, especially. If I continue doing this, in 5 years, I'm going to be making decent money. In 10 years, I'm going to be able to freaking own my own home, own my own car. We need to quit with this instant gratification, especially when you're at fucking poverty level. Okay, I'm middle class. Me running out and buying that motorcycle when I fucking saw it, that put me in a fucking hurl-up, but I could survive it, okay? You know, I don't get to spend money on fucking anything else now, according to my wife, but I could survive it. But I sure as fuck couldn't do that shit 10 years ago.
But see, even more so to that point on the welfare programs, I mean, you got people out here who can't wait until they become of age just to be able to get on those programs. You have people who can't wait to have babies just so they can get on that program. Like, they live for nothing else. They live for nothing else. They don't want to go to college. They don't want to get a job. They just want to have a baby, get on welfare, and live.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not for everybody, but it's really some people out here who just don't want to grind, and you know, right. It's just a lot of people out here who just don't want to work to get it. They want, like I said, like Alone Dog said, instant gratification, and you just have a lot of people like that. It's unfortunate.
But before Dave keeps going, to answer your question though, it still comes back to me as being the poster boy of pulling yourself by your bootstraps and looking for those opportunities that you need to get the hell out of poverty. I'm coming up out of the projects. I was able to get a job, get that nice-ass townhouse, rental townhouse, might I add, I'll go ahead and put that out there, rental townhouse in that nice little decent community. But, I mean, and I'm not to the level that I want to be at, but I'm still building up to that level. You still got these low-level motherfuckers who still just saying, oh, I can't do shit for myself. I gotta sell drugs. Or I gotta be on welfare. I gotta be on food stamps for the rest of my life.
You ain't gotta go far for that, man. Your brother.
What?
I say you ain't gotta go far to use an example. Your brother. That's a dude that had all the opportunities you had and more, and pretty much just let him slip through his fingers.
Oh yeah, fuck him.
We're a family-friendly show.
All over the place, man. Like, I remember I had a cut. Well, I don't know how the fuck he was related. He was some second cousin or some shit like that. But I remember that kid came when I was doing I had to do some type of homeschooling or something like that, right? And he came and he lived at that area for like 2 months. I was working on the side and doing this homeschooling thing, and he was working with me. That's how I knew him. He was the fucking grandson of the guy who owned the business I was at. Right? Well, he was some relation or something like that. He was related somehow. But anyways, his mother was a fucking piece of shit. Okay, like complete piece of shit. And this kid, when he showed up, was a complete piece of shit too. We were both 15, 16 years old. After probably about 2 months, the guy shaped up pretty well. Like, he was working pretty hard. He was sitting, even though he didn't have to do this shit, he was sitting there with my stuff because he was hanging out with me. So he was sitting there doing those studies, and he was getting pretty enthusiastic about learning this shit, right? I remember his mom came down to visit, you know, after whatever 2 months this guy's here, and he's trying to show her this shit that he's learning. Look, Mom, I'm actually figuring this shit out. And this bitch is like, what are you bothering with that for? You're not getting any credit for it. What does this matter to you? Don't worry about this shit. And I'm sitting here, mind you, I'm a fucking 15, 16-year-old kid. Listen to this bitch like, why is she tearing down this kid for learning something? Yeah, he's not getting anything out of it besides a fucking education. You know, that's the only thing he was getting that he wasn't. She dropped off the sister to that kid, right? She was maybe 2 years younger, and I remember somebody asked that girl, "What's your plan? You know, what do you want to be when you grow up?" Her literal response was, "I want to have 2 kids and live off welfare." This whole family was white.
Damn.
Hell white, whiter than me. It was fucking crazy. And mind you, the grandfather, so this lady's freaking father-in-law, was a very wealthy man. You know, he drove a fucking $120,000 car. The guy made a lot of money. He fought from fucking nothing. And here he is having a fucking daughter that's just a piece of shit, you know? That bitch got knocked up about, I think, 6 fucking times, and all those kids went separate directions, man. She never saw those kids again. She got caught fucking that boy, too. I remember that. 2 years later after that, she got caught fucking that kid. And that's when they all split to the fucking winds. That's how terrible of a bitch she was. But the last time I heard from that kid, he was a total fucking disaster. And, you know, that was a kid I saw. He had some potential. He had some, hey, when he started learning some shit, he was excited about it. Went back home to mom, who was a piece of shit, and it just got completely fucking ruined. I haven't heard from him probably about 5-6 years, but the last time I did, he was up to some fucking bullshit. And he's probably sitting in jail right now.
God damn, that's a heartbreaking ass story.
Yep.
Good thing it was white people.
Yep.
Wow, that's what makes you smile, Slow Chemical? Jesus Christ. This whole show, this motherfucker's had a straight face. Terrible.
It's good to fucking see, you know.
Oh, no, it's not. No.
What? What?
Oh, that's terrible.
It's if you said you fucking sold us. It's if you say that shit.
That's terrible.
You fucking Africans sold us black people.
We didn't necessarily sell you. Some of y'all were stolen. I miss you, man.
Okay. Fucking light-skinned hoe. What you are.
But look. All of this is to come back to the main point. And the main point being, I just want you guys to kind of agree that gentrification isn't necessarily the best solution in every situation.
It's not, but it is a solution.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I can go with that. I can go with that.
But see, here's my thing with gentrification.
Ah, shit.
Gentrification isn't the process of people coming in to rehabilitate a neighborhood for those people that's already there. Gentrification is a process of people coming in because they want to claim that land to make it something better for a different group of people. Like the harbor, for instance. Like Harbor East. Let's take Harbor East, prime example. Harbor East, I don't even know what Harbor East was before Harbor East what it is now, but I'm quite sure Harbor East was trash. You take, you know, the location that it's in and its relative neighbors to Harbor East. I'm quite sure Harbor East was just trash. It was next to Fells Point. It was next to Douglas Projects. It was next to a lot of project developments. But now, a lot of the people that used to live in Fells Point are gone. And now it's just upgraded to what it is now. It's just like these upper class type condominiums everywhere, high price shops.
Yeah, that shit look like fucking Beverly Hills or Hollywood Hills. Shit is ridiculous.
Yeah, sure. I remember seeing a window with a $500 piece of jewelry. I was like, "You're still in Baltimore. Calm down."
Right. It's like the Beverly Hills version. Well, it's like the Baltimore version of Beverly Hills. So you're saying that gentrification is the staple that's supposed to secure a community for the people that's already there. No, it's a bunch of business people that's coming through saying, okay, well, you're not doing anything with your community, but trashing it and fucking it up and everything. We're going to come along, redevelop this land into something that we see that can make us money. It's prime real estate. The harbor, for instance, is prime real estate. It's next to all the water. You can make all these waterfront properties and whatnot. So forth. We're going to take it.
No, I understand that, and I'm not knocking the business side of that. That's just capitalism at work. If you like capitalism, that's one of the side effects. What I'm knocking is when your girl says stuff like, you know, why are people complaining about gentrification if they're tearing all this stuff down? The argument I have is is there a portion of the blame that should go to the population? Absolutely. Ain't nobody fighting that statement. But to say that if they don't fix their neighborhood, then they deserve to be gentrified. That's a little bit like if the Indians didn't know about it, then they deserve the smallpox blanket. You know, it's kind of like, no, these dudes.
No, because they were blindsided.
Now, my point is, we've already asserted that these guys are usually fairly uneducated in these areas. Usually. Now, are we saying that they could improve? Absolutely.
I'll give you a perfect example for you, especially. Okay.
All right, go ahead.
I'll tell you something that might surprise you, but these fucking hoods aren't the only fucking collections of poor people in the fucking U.S., let alone the world.
Wow.
A good example of you is this is who a lot of the people I lived around. When you go into the poor neighborhoods of Mexicans and you look at the crime rates between those fucking hoods and poor Mexican parts of freaking, California or even Tennessee had it, Georgia had a bunch of them. You know a big difference that you see?
No. There's a difference.
Hello?
I think the NSA is censoring him right now.
NSA tied him up.
We knew it. We knew it. As the only white host on this majority black podcast, we knew the NSA would get Alone in the Dark sooner or later. He's been a traitor to his kind for a long time.
You know
We'll
what,
miss
you know
him.
what else that
We'll
means?
appreciate him.
You know what else that means?
What's that mean?
We got more than like 3 viewers.
That's terrible.
That is very fucking terrible. But hey,
Terrible.
whatever gets us ratings.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, it's hold on. While we wait for Alone in the Dark to figure out what's going on and to fix it, I get the point. I get the point. I'm not in any way, shape, or form alleviating the blame from these people that aren't willing to even make the effort to improve themselves. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying that to an extent there's a certain element of when the uneducated are facing the educated in, say, legal circumstances, they really don't stand a chance. And these educated, the businessmen, usually white, not always, sometimes black, sometimes Mexican, the educated will bulldoze over those guys. All right, my bad. You back Alone in the Dark?
Yeah, but whose fault would that be, though? The uneducated.
And that's the point I'm making. It's the uneducated fault. But the reason I use the Indian analogy is because they don't necessarily know better. They don't necessarily. Really, I put. Do I think that they should know better? Absolutely. Do I think that they should improve themselves? Absolutely. But do I think gentrification is something they deserve if they're not improving themselves? No. I think that's you just painted it black and white. That's a very complicated topic. For example, in Baltimore, hold on. Let me finish real quick. In Baltimore, I would 100% agree with you, right? But from what I've heard about Chicago, I would completely disagree with you. Because in Baltimore, I've been in Baltimore, I've seen the areas of Baltimore, and I've seen kind of the hoods of Baltimore. Yeah, those people should know better to an extent. But in Chicago, there's situations in Chicago, like right now, one of the highest school shooting schools, period, in America is a high school in Chicago. And they did a recent thing on NPR where one of the guys from NPR, God bless that dude, so went over there for 6 months and just watched them. And the one thing he learned in that whole process was this. Oh,
wait a minute. Time out. Let in. Let in.
Let in here, man.
Let in. Let her in, goddamn.
Hold on a second.
That's one of the Mexicans who was talking about.
Yeah, it's her.
Look at that. She heard me.
Hey, turn the camera on, fucker.
Look at this poor motherfucker.
Poor motherfucker. Jesus.
Yeah.
I swear he tries a lot. He tries a lot.
There ain't no more proof we need who wears the skirt in that relationship, man.
Right.
Who wears the thongs in that relationship? Jesus
That
Christ.
same shit's happened to me before. My wife kept in, and I had to just make sure that the computer was muted before I started beating her. You know, right now he's probably getting slapped around.
Right. He's
Don't
probably
you
getting
ever-
flooded.
Don't you ever make me knock twice, you son of a bitch?
And then call your name? Motherfucker.
I don't think that's some shit you want to admit on camera, guys. Like,
I mean, smack around, you know, what's
What
that
do you
called?
mean in a non-literal sense?
Metaphorically.
In a long literal sense, of course. What do you people out there thinking? Jesus.
What the
Maybe
fuck
you-
is happening to this guy right now, man? He's gonna turn on that camera again. He's gonna have his baby with him. He just got saddled with the baby. I guarantee it.
Well, you would be wrong, my friend. You would be wrong.
You just
See,
your
that's what
cheeks
you get
look a
for
little
assuming,
rosy,
dog.
man. Your
what
cheeks
you
look a
get
little
for assuming.
rosy. What happened?
How can you tell?
But anyways, carry on with your fucking shit so I can hurry and crush it. All right.
Sure. The point I was making is this. Like in the story, like when the NPR guys went to Chicago and they were talking to the school in Chicago, one of the things they were saying is, for example, some of these kids, when you're saying something like, hey, if you don't want to be in a gang, because the reason there were so many mass shootings is because there were a bunch of different gangs. Pretty much each block was a gang. And the guy was saying something like, if you're thinking, hey, all you got to do is not participate in a gang to not be part of a gang, that's not how it works. If you're living on that block, you're part of that gang. That's pretty much how every other gang will view you,
Yeah.
whether you accept it or not.
To make
Not
it more
in-
clear, yeah, the gang that runs your neighborhood, you have to come ask them to join, right? But
No, not
hold
at
on,
all.
shut the fuck up.
Not at all, but you're wrong.
Dude,
You're wrong.
Hold on. Just hold on 1 second and you'll hear what I'm saying, okay? You have to talk to that gang to join. However, every other gang will consider you part of that game and will come and kill your ass. So the only choice you have is to join the gang so you can be safe. You either are going against all these other gangs by yourself, or you have to go join that fucking gang to get some sort of fucking protection. So yeah, they get lassoed into that shit. There's no out. You know, there's either getting the shit beat out of you or killed because you're part of no gang, but everyone's considering you part of it. So that means you have no protection, but you got all the fucking aggression. Or you go and join and get a little bit of protection, but now you're part of the problem, and a bunch of white Republicans are going to say that you deserve to kill each other in the streets because of the fucking place you were born in.
Exactly. And the problem I have with people saying this something like, well, why shouldn't they gentrify if you guys are busy tearing down your neighborhood, is like, for some people, that's not an option. Like the guys we were just talking about, like Alone in the Dark was just describing, they're stuck in a situation where they're going to have a hard time getting out of it. Like,
Yeah.
super hard time. Saying that kind of thing becomes kind of like when, okay, here's a perfect example of what that can translate into. Right now you have these illegal immigrant, very white people on
Lord.
TV saying stuff like, go back to where you come from, and Jesus always obeyed the law, when Mexican children are running away from violence into our country. You end up, it's very easy. And here's the thing. When I look at those white people, unlike most people, I don't go, look at those fucking dipshits. Look at those pure idiots. I go, look at those people who legitimately think they're doing something right, who legitimately think they're taking the hard stance that nobody else wants to take. We're taking the view that no one else, like the politicians are too scared to say it because they don't want to lose voters, and the liberals are too weak to say it because they're pussies or whatever. We're taking the stance to defend our country from a legitimate threat when they're just being dicks to kids.
You heard me. You heard they stopped the YMCA van, right? Or the bus?
Oh yeah, I remember. Dude, it was for me the funniest thing about that whole situation was watching that old white lady say Jesus wouldn't break the law while telling a bunch of kids to get deported.
Which is
just
funny,
like
because
this
they were all there
is
to
where it's come
harass
to.
something that was lawful. I mean,
Yeah. This is what it's come to. By the way, the hilarious part about that story for people who don't know, the only reason those kids can't be deported is because of a law that George Bush signed, which said that any country that's not directly bordering us cannot immediately be deported. So Republicans are complaining about some shit that Republicans did, but that's a whole other thing. The point I'm making is this. When you start saying stuff like, you can't complain about being gentrified if you're busy tearing up your community, it's very easy for people to lump people in really complex situations into that group.
It's not.
Now I agree. The only thing I disagree with is, yeah, that position with Chicago is a fucking terrible position, but that is hardly what every single person is in all these different freaking poverty-stricken areas. That is a very extreme case of how things could go fucking terrible. Okay? Now, does that not mean that there isn't some people who are stuck in extreme situations like that? There isn't. But another thing, which don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here defending gentrification like it's the fucking be-all, end-all, best thing that ever happened to anybody. But another thing to adjust how people are acting, and this is proven time and time again, is to pull them the fuck out of where they're stuck in that loop. Get them the fuck out of that area. Change that whole area so it's not the same anymore, and you can break a lot of these cycles. That actually happened to the military back during Vietnam War. You know, you had a bunch of military guys addicted to fucking heroin and all kinds of freaking hard drugs, right? That is some hard shit to get off of. But they had an incredible rate of success. And a lot of people were saying that's just because the military man's tougher than your average citizen. That's why they're so much more successful getting them off these drugs. No, what happened was they took them out of Vietnam where these guys kept doing these drugs, took them back to the U.S., which was a completely different area. That cycle was broken. That whole cycle of, hey, I'm going to fucking mommy's son, getting my fucking dope on, and then banging these bitches. That whole cycle's broken, and that's the biggest part of changing that bad habit. Yeah, they had to go through freaking therapy and shit like that, but it was so much easier for them because they got kicked out of the area they were in, and that whole cycle didn't exist anymore. They would have to rebuild it to go again. Now, I know it's kind of hard because a lot of times these people are getting pushed into worse neighborhoods, but it is one way to break a cycle by getting them the fuck out of the area, or at least vastly changing the area that they're in these bad fucking cycles. Like, you kick all those gangs in Chicago out of the neighborhoods they're sitting around protecting, now they're going to have to rebuild from the ground up stuff that's been going on for generations. It probably isn't going to be very successful. A lot of people could probably break free of that at that point, because now these gangs, instead of going around killing each other because you're from this neighborhood and I'm from this neighborhood, both of our neighborhoods just got busted down by a bunch of rich people taking our fucking land. We just got thrown in a totally different mix. I need to figure some shit out before I completely, mark my territory and start killing people in other kid territory too. Now, I will say, too, it does not matter how fucking broke I am. I could be in fucking dead. And if my kids and me lived in that town in Chicago, I will fucking walk from that town somewhere else. I don't care if I show up there past broke. If we show up fucking drinking out of the fucking streams and freaking begging for money on the streets, there is no way I would stay in those fucking areas. And that's kind of another point of contention for these illegal immigrants that are coming across. People give them a fucking hard time, but I can guarantee if I was born in Mexico, I would probably be able to stay in Mexico by myself, surviving on my own. That's not a big fucking deal. But the moment I have kids and I realize, oh shit, these kids are going to have to grow up in this shitty area, I'm probably walking across the fucking border. Okay, I don't care how illegal that shit is. I don't care how freaking pissed off white people are going to be when I'm going to get there. There is no way I would sit there and think I'm a good parent by staying in fucking Mexico and letting my kids grow up in that shit.
I just kind of feel terrible about that whole situation because there is a legitimate concern as to how to handle undocumented immigrants. But it's so hard to have a serious conversation when
you
it's
know what I
white
really
people
think?
freaking yelling, man. It's kind of like when people make the whole. Every time I've heard people criticize Barack Obama here, it's usually white people. And
Yeah.
I have to almost fight the instinct to defend him because I legitimately have some problems with what Barack Obama is doing. But you have to. It's almost hard not to admit there is a special kind of venom that white people have for him that they've never.
I got a lot of
product.
problems with Barack Obama, but really none of them are anything special for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
It's
really,
general-
I had a whole lot more problems with George Bush than I had for Barack Obama. And that's kind of a different circumstance, too, because I clearly remember. Do you guys remember that? Now, watch this drive, that video?
No.
Yeah,
What
I remember that.
Yeah, it's. I can't pull it up on my phone now. But,
George Bush was talking about we had like a coalition of nations looking for Barack. No, ooh, that was
Yeah.
horrible.
we
Looking
need to
for
fight against the axis of evil or some shit like that, right? Like it was
Yeah.
some vague ass fucking terms. But here's how it happened for me, Dave, and you'll remember this part. Do you remember when Cheeks died?
Yeah, I remember. That was a big thing. Holy crap.
Cheeks was this wonderful, really bright and cheery Mexican dude. Me and Dave were in combat trains. They were in, what was that shit called?
I can't remember, dude.
They were in a different type of mobile
They were,
security.
yeah, in a different type of mobile thing.
Yeah, his truck got blown up. That guy got killed, right? I mean, it was devastating to the whole battalion. Not only that one of our people got killed, but it was this really wonderful, bubbly, fucking happy, always enthusiastic guy,
Yeah, of all the people to go down, it had to be this super nice, loved by everybody dude. That had to be one of the first to go down in that whole thing.
Exactly. Because that guy raised the morale so much, just him being around, when he got killed, it fucking destroyed the morale when that shit happened. The first time I saw that video is probably 2 days after Cheeks died. I went to the chow hall, we're eating, and that video showed up on the TV in the fucking chow hall. And what it is George Bush out on a fucking golf course, right? Out on a golf course, and some reporters had stopped him to talk to him, and he said something like, "We have a coalition of nations who need to do. I challenge them to do everything in their power to stop these terrorists and go after the axis of evil." Real freaking powerful little vague ass statement, right? Then he says, "Now watch this drive," and he walks over and fucking tees off at the green, right? Or hits the fucking thing. I'm sitting there in fucking shock, and everybody at the table, too. Here we are in a fucking war zone, just lost this wonderful fucking guy, and we see the fucking president of the United States, who started this war, out golfing, just whatever. Yeah, we need to do shit. Hey, watch this drive, guys. Watch this shit going on. I hated that motherfucker with an undying passion from that point on.
It's hard to like George Bush. And even now that he's retired, man, he hasn't done anything to make him any more
I'll tell
human.
you, right, if I ever just came across him, met him in a bar or something like that, I would be going to jail that night. I wouldn't kill the guy, but I would definitely punch the shit out of him, probably get the shit beat out of him by the Secret Service.
Yeah.
But I would
haven't-
throw that punch.
Then you haven't heard the awesome story. Have you heard about the George Bush Museum in Texas?
No.
Oh, you're going to love this. So there is a George Bush Museum. Now, don't quote me on Texas. I might be wrong. But there's definitely a George Bush Museum that opened recently showing kind of his presidency and all the things he went through. Now, there was a big thing that was kind of hushed very quickly on the news as soon as it started about it. Because there was this room where you get to be George Bush. In an effort to kind of fix his legacy, they have this room where you get to be George Bush, and they put you in situations George Bush was, like Katrina or Iraq and all those things, and then you have to make the right decision in that circumstance. Now, the reason this isn't that bad a thing, except the reason it became a problem was if you make the decision opposite George Bush's decision, the response the computer gives you is, instead of going, hey, this is what happened, it goes, no, you can't make this decision because all these other things could happen.
I figured that.
So there was only one decision you could make, which was the decision George Bush made, because if you picked any other decision, the response the computer gave you was, you can't make that decision because all these other things could potentially happen.
George Bush.
Yeah, which, as you can see, did nothing to improve his legacy, because people literally went, oh, you're saying this was the only option. That's some real Dick Cheney type shit. But
yeah,
I mean, I'll agree with him. It's just this whole kind of the thing I was worried about when I heard it originally, because I agree with you guys in general. The thing I was worried about when I heard it originally is like hearing that gentrification term immediately links me to like fast forward 5 years from now, and you'll have a bunch of white Republicans standing somewhere going, get the fuck out of this neighborhood, all you've done is tear it down, you did nothing to improve it. Like, and I was like, yeah, nah, it's a little more complex. So, but I agree with you in general.
I dig it.
All right.
Asshole, ain't you?
But
If
about
you say so.
those kids, I don't honestly. I could see the issue. Okay, if you're just looking at this shit objectively, I could see people going, okay, yeah, you think doing the good thing is taking these kids in and freaking feeding them, housing them, but if we do that, people are gonna keep sending these kids nonstop, and we're not gonna be able to support this. I could understand that argument objectively. I can't really vouch for it because, in all reality, the only things these kids are going to cost me is tax dollars. And if you're asking me to choose between spending more money in my taxes and leaving a bunch of kids out to die in a fucking war-torn country, I'm going to go ahead and give you that money, that tax money, okay? That's another thing where the government is already wasting so much fucking tax dollars. I would love to divert some of that waste to these fucking kids. Now, the only solution I could really see to fix this without freaking drowning the whole nation in freaking, immigrant kids is, instead of us running out to these freaking shit-heap countries in Iraq, how about we go across the border and help them fix this fucking terrible situation they're in? Make Mexico not a bad place anymore. It's already pretty much a puppet government. Yeah. Let's go ahead and pull the fucking the hood back on this shit. Say, you know what, motherfuckers? Done playing with you. You guys keep fucking this up. We're gonna go ahead and take care of shit, and let's get this fixed.
Here's the sad part about it. Mexico is legitimately trying to fix shit.
Like, but they can't. I mean, they just don't have they don't have the power.
For the last year, they've been in an all because the former president had an arrangement with all the drug lords. And the new president basically came in with like a zero tolerance. So pretty much for the last few years, it's been all-out war between the government and the cartels. And this is how big the cartels are in Mexico. The war is still ongoing.
Yeah, their fucking military.
These are people who are legitimately trying to take their country back and fix it. And it's like, the drug lords are so powerful over there where it's like, nah, it ain't that easy an option. So yeah. I'm 100% with you on that. I think
I would love if we went over and the Marine Corps went over to fight some fucking cartels in Mexico. I would probably go to re-up. That sounds like a good fucking time to me. Here we are. We got a clear-cut enemy. This is really going to help not only Mexicans but also the U.S.
Yeah, legitimately.
Everybody gets helped out of this, and we get to go fuck up some fucking bad people. That's a good fucking time right there.
I think the reason we won't do it because it's so fucking close to home. I'm just saying.
I just think the government is making so much fucking money off the cartels, they wouldn't do it. I think that's the same reason weed hasn't been legalized years ago. There's no fucking reason on planet Earth weed shouldn't be legal.
Hey guys.
Tobacco legal and
Hold on. Calm down. You know where I'm at right now, right?
Oh yeah, that's what I was about to say. Exactly.
Now,
our friend here just recently moved to Denver, Colorado. Coincidence?
I I haven't been able to go to one of these places yet because, I came up here alone. I had to ditch the wife so she can get her shit finished. Then she's going to be coming up in a couple weeks. So I'm just stuck with the kids. I'm not about to haul the fucking kids into a dispensary. But once I find a fucking way.
Yeah, that perp right there looks right. Ooh, is that a soda? You go ahead and pass that my way. Kids, don't touch anything, kids.
Yeah, exactly.
It's bad for you.
Once I'm free, once I get these kids somewhere I could put them where they won't freaking die in the hour I'm gone, I'll tell you guys how it was.
But I mean, I don't know. It's just... Anyway, it's just a legitimate concern, and we'll have to pick it up again. But we got to start doing parting shots. All right, I'm going to start with Cold Conscience. You got any parting shots there, boss?
Yes, I do. Dave, you all fucking light-skinned hoe.
Thank you. That was very sweet of you.
That was you all. Motherfucker, we texted you
Whatever.
3 days ago. And you just... No, motherfucker. We texted you 3 days ago. 3 fucking days ago. And you forgot. You forgot.
Man,
Why the fuck did you text back?
Because, man, shit.
Because you are a light-skinned hoe.
I'll text you back right now. Jesus.
That's what light-skinned females do. Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. You wasn't busy doing shit.
If you say so, man.
You Drake bastard.
Mr. Calhoun, you got any parting shots?
Yeah, I'm pissed. One of y'all bastards messed up my riding session earlier. That's all right. Fuck y'all.
My bad.
I'm sorry. I don't know where this show is going to, but
Jesus.
I'm not.
Mr. Slow Chemical, any parting shots?
Weed, right there for you.
Let me tell y'all a little story, okay?
Oh, shit.
Right.
Shit.
Here we go.
Okay, go ahead.
So, I was talking to Cole Conscious last night, right? And we were supposed to be talking to Jonathan Nestor as well. And so he at first made the analogy light-skinned hoe maybe on Monday when we didn't get a response back from him. So I started thinking about it, right? Because I'm technically light-skinned. So like, do us as light-skinned people do that, right? And who the fuck is that? Hold on. I thought about, yeah, we do that. Fortunately for me, I'm considered white. So I'm taken out of the equation.
Exactly.
But the people who, do that, like Jonathan Nestor, we touched on this topic on the show before. The reason why they only get so far with other people is because of their egregious, if you don't know what that means, go look it up, actions. And what must be stopped is not George Bush, not gentrification, whatever the heck y'all want to talk about. It needs to be stopped to light-skinning people. I would call it light-skinning people. When you get a text message, there's no reason for you to not come back within an hour. It's a text message. You can give a one-word response. It's annoying. You should be shot in the face as you do it. And when people text message and you give a response back to the text message, what you need to know is that if the conversation isn't over, you still respond back. That's why we have all technology. And then when I send a text message out and I get asked a question and I get something back called crack.com, no one really cares. Respond to my question.
Reply to this question. You light-skinned hoe.
All right, sure.
Stop light-skinned people.
Hello in the dark. Do you have any parting shots?
I'm going to have to second the notion that you need to get that bitch in line, man. You need to get your woman in some form of freaking, what do you call it? Obedience. Okay, you need to get that woman obedience training. Her coming springing in here in the middle of my goddamn show is taking a little bit too far, okay? So,
I'm like
I don't know
fucking
what you
Vince
gotta
Man
do.
right now.
I thought you want to throw it out there. I support feminism. Think it's cool.
That's about all I got to say, man. You need to get some fucking backhands going.
Alright, oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, that's been Dare to Disagree this week.
Stop being a princess, motherfucker, and start being Bobby Brown.
I want to thank our viewers.
Stop being Prince and be Bobby
on Wednesday for the same show.
You Prince motherfucker.
6 p.m. Eastern.
Be Bobby Brown.
Well, 6 p.m. Western, 9 p.m. Eastern. Have a good one, guys.
Our legal team wants to say we only support domestic violence metaphorically. Okay?
Thank God.